Hi guys, it is Tammy with Cheers to Creativity, and it is Tuesday. Tuesday Tips, Techniques, and Teachings. I had so much fun, and there were so many fun responses from the project I did on Sunday, where we did a beach sign, but it had the blended colors from the beach to the water to the sky. So I got thinking that I needed to do one that was a little more lake-like. So this one I added the pier, and I just had some trees off to the side instead of anything oceany. And then I decided I needed to do another one. So I did the same kind of technique, did all the blending, and this one I just covered with a stencil. This one happens to say, go jump in the lake. If you like that saying, it is a couple fonts that were put together, and just put lake in there, and I can come back and add a tracer for you. I don't have it done right now, but I will I'll do it after we're done. I'm going to sit down here in just a second. I'm hoping I can pop you up on my iPad so I can see some comments as well. Facebook has been a little challenging for those of us who do lives. It's been a little, just a little interesting, but that's okay. But I'm going to show you a couple quick other things and we'll get started. This is a little sign that I found at Dollar Tree. It has a little kick on it. And all I did is took a stencil and I just variegated those letters a little bit. Just kind of something fun. And the fun thing about those, they're actually a chalkboard on one side. I turned this one around and did the same color things and then just put a stencil on top of it that says live more, worry less. That happens to be part of a stencil that is part of Essential Stencil of the Month Extras. That's a lot. And always remember, if you decide to check out Stencil of the Month with Essential Stencil, you get 50% off if you use my code CHEER as your first month, or on any other stencils, regular stencils on essentialstencil.com, you get 10% off at discount. Anyhow, so there's that. I also played around with a little more oceany, beachy colors. And you see there's a little wine glass sitting on the arm of the chair. I'm kind of ready for summer. I'm kind of ready for wine on the beach. Might not be for everybody, but some days that sounds really good for me. Hello, Betty. Hello, Debbie. I cannot see who else is. I'm trying to look at my phone. But thank you so much for popping on. It means so much to me. It really helps me. It helps me get my stuff out to other people. And that's all I got to say about that. Okay, I'm going to set this down. No two ever look alike. The idea here is I'm going to show you how to do the beach. I'm going to show you how to do some water and to show you how to do some sky. Okay? So I'm probably going to go ahead and just sit down. Sounds like a plan. And I'm going to be using Deco Art paints. This is the stencil I used on the one with all the words, all sorts of summer words on there. This was last month's Stencil of the Month. I have not seen this month's. I think it has to do with grandparents. But it was really a lot of fun. Lots and lots of tons of summer words. But there's all sorts of other things you could put on these too. It's coming down this way. It wouldn't have to just be summer words. You could use things like seek adventure, everything I've ever wanted. Together they decide to build a life they love. That's just one idea of doing the stencils on top. Like I said, I actually did the words on top. I just used graphite paper and put it on. The other one I like is Life is Better at the Lake. And I might do that one on here. We'll see how it all comes to play. This is the blanks of the little signs I showed you. Again, these were from Dollar Tree. So something fun. Another one, Life's Better at the Lake. This stencil has seen some better life, so we probably won't use that. All right, let's try to just get you so you can see a sign. This way. Okay. And I'm going to see if I can stand up and see if I see any comments. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Terry. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. We're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, no two are ever exactly alike, but this is a really fun thing to do on a sign, but it's also would be fun just to do on a card. I'm trying to decide what side of my board is better. Okay, I'm going to go with this. We're going to go with this. You can either put paint on a plate. A clean plate would be nice. I don't have one right now. Or you can squirt it directly on your piece. I'm going to go with that right now. So I'm going to start with my beach. This is Cocoa Beach. And I'm just going to spread some of this color along. I'm going to pull it up a little bit on my sides as well. Here's the big thing with blending color. You need to have moisture so your colors can blend. So that either means you're having a lot of paint on there. Right now I'm just pulling it off my edge. And you're working with the paint being wet, or you're pulling extra water in. I'm now going to pull up a little dark brown. This is burnt umber. Yep. And I don't need that much of it, so I'm just going to pick up a little bit on my brush. Just to give it a little different hue. I'm too worried about it. I just want to give it a little difference. And I'm also going to pick up a little of white. Just want to have some different variations in that shade. Okay. All right. Now, I could just clean out my brush. That would be the smart thing to do. But I'm going to cheat. I'm going to go and use a different brush. So I'm going to lay in my next layer of color, which is going to be this part here, which is going to be my water. This could be a lot of different shades. You could literally just use one blue and lighten it up and darken it as you go. Or if you've got several different color options, we can do that. And so that is actually what I'm going to do today. This is Sea Breeze, so I'm going to put that down first, I think. I'm almost out of Sea Breeze. Oh, but look, a new bottle. Yay! I'm opening the new bottle. And I'm going to have another color ready to go. Hi, Nancy. Laguna is the color I'm going to start blending it with. But right now I'm just going to start with, oops, spreading it all over my table. And I'm going to try to pull a little on my edges too. This is not, well, it's reclaimed because I'm using it again, but not old as in barnwood reclaimed. It's just an old piece of wood that really doesn't have a lot of good use for a project. So we're going to turn it into a sign. Okay. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the white again and make it lighter as it goes toward my sand. I think I picked up a little brown. That's okay. I don't think I really wanted to do that, but that's okay. So I'm just adding a little lighter color. It's still wet. I'm going to squirt on a little of the Laguna color. Really, it's just a shade darker. Now, if I did squirt on too much paint, I would just take it, lift it off, and wipe it on a paper towel if I had too much going on, which I might. The really fun thing about a blended background like this, one, like I said, no two are alike, but it doesn't have to be perfect. You're mimicking nature's background. Just pulling up my sides, catching my sides a little bit. Because I still had that light in my brush, it kind of blends. I'm now going to go to a darker color. This is navy. Did not pull my hair back, and it's going to get in the paint. I can tell you that right now. But because I have lots and lots of paint on my piece, and I'm working quickly, it blends pretty easily. Pulling it around my edges. Same thing would work very well on canvas. I'm looking for my blue. I want just a little darker right up here. So I'm just going to try to concentrate the darker color up here right now. All right. Now, here's another trick I have. So if I thought any of this needed to be blended a little more, I can either go in with just a clean brush or a clean damp brush, and I can very lightly, again, my colors are still wet, so these are going to blend together. And it has a nice blend of colors. It's not one stark line. What do you think? Does that look kind of like we have a beach and some water? Hopefully. I had that little goof here, so I'm going to clean this one brush out that I just used. You put in the do not disturb sign, you would think they would not disturb. Just to blend that color just a tiny bit more. All right, so now we're going to go on to our sky. And you can do your sky either with, I'm going to call them sunset colors. So yellow into oranges into corals. That's that one. And there's this one. Or you could make it more of a white background. Not white, but a light blue. So just adding white to your color would give you that color. Hang on, gotta answer Miss Jennifer. Okay, back to you guys. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do the yellows. If you were doing some on some type of wood that might bleed on you, you might want to do a quick coat of white first. I'm pretty confident I'm going to be okay with this. So I'm going to put down my yellow. I'm going to take either a clean brush or start with a clean brush. This one's pretty clean. A lot of yellows are transparent, meaning they're not going to be very one coat and done. You might have to come back and add another coat, but because we're blending this with other colors on top, I think we're going to be okay. Although this is pretty sheer. Okay, so I've got my dirty brush, a little extra water in it, so I'm going to take some out. I'm going to go to Coral Blush. You could just use an orange. Well, maybe we're going to use this. Now, hopefully you guys know this is all real life, because this is just how this works most of the time. But would really appreciate it if you could help me out and do a little of that. All right, so I put my Coral Blush on here, and I'm just going to blend it up. And then I'm going to blend, while they still have that color on my brush, I'm going to blend some down. The lighter pressure, the softer the blend. Meaning it's going to blend less with the color that I'm next to. Then if I want to even go a little deeper, I think I do. This is Watermelon Slice. Oh my goodness, where'd it go? Again, this is real life, peeps. I'm just going to put a little bit up there. Don't need a ton. Give me a little more of my red hue in my sky. And I can even bring a little of that down into my water here. I'm rinsing my brush. I'm just going to pull a little bit into my, so just kind of shadows back down in very lightly. All right. What do you think so far? Does it look kind of like a decent sunset that you'd like to take some time and go watch? I'm going to clear this off because one of the ways it's easy to make your horizon show up pretty crisply with a scene like this is to go ahead and add one in. And that's what I did with this one. See, and it's not very well painted. It's really kind of just the illusion. There's no real trees or anything like that. Can't really even tell hills or anything. But you're going to go ahead and put a black line and then just tap some different variations so it's not just one level. So I'm going to go with my black. And I'm going to pick up just a medium flat brush and I'm going to pull paint out of the puddle on both sides of the brush so it gets kind of a nice chisel edge. And then I'm just going to kind of follow my horizon line, making a line. Doesn't have to be completely straight because I want there to be some definition of ups and downs. Or I can come back in and add them. All right, so after I've gotten that line in, I'm just going to come in and tap the illusion of some hills, maybe a bunch of trees here. Just picking up a little more paint. You just popped on. I was saying that after I finished this, I used a stencil on one of my boards and I traced on some letters for the other one that said, go jump in the lake. And if you would like the go jump in the lake, just let me know just by putting lake in and I'll come back and put a link in there for you to get the tracer for that. The other option for doing something like that is to just use your computer and just pick a couple different fonts and type it out and then write, and then go ahead and print it off. And using graphite paper underneath your tracer, you'll be able to put it on. All right, so that's what I have on the one that I had that said go jump on the lake. I'm sitting down. How are we doing? Checking in comments. Lake. Okay, I see some lakes. I will definitely do that. Just give me a little grace. I will do that after I get done with this. Live. I will go and I'll set it up so I can get you a link to that. All right. So this, when I did the little guys with the armchair or the Adirondack chair and the wine glass, I didn't give it a pier. I didn't do it on the one with all the letters either, but I attempted, and it is an attempt, it is not perfection, to draw a pier. Because when I go to the lake, I think of always having a pier. When I was a kid, we always jumped off the pier into the lake. Pier is where you tie up your boat, all those happy things. So, not having a pattern for this, I want it to be wider at the corner here and get narrower as it goes into the water, but it doesn't come to a complete point. So I'm just going to make a gray with the black and the white that I have on my plate. Excuse my messy plate. So here's some white, tiny bit of black, and I'm just going to make a medium gray. Now, if you have a gray, of course, go ahead and use it. Acrylic paint dries relatively fast. If this was still really wet, remember I used a lot of paint, I could hit it with a blow dryer. I'm going to need to kind of look at an angle here, so I'm going to go going in about that far. And then this is to be narrower. I am sure there are better ways to do that, but this is getting the job done. I want to have these to be pretty straight lines on each side. I'm going to fill it in with the gray. I think it needs to be just a little longer. And we need to remember this is a background, so it does not need to be perfect in any way. So I've got this dirty brush. I'm going to pick up a little extra white. So all I've really done is made a lighter gray. And this, I think, is about a 10 or 12. And I'm just going to lay down the illusion of boards. Hopefully staying within All right, so kind of have that. Still have a dirty brush. I'm going to wipe it off on a paper towel. I'm going to pick up just a little bit on the corner of my brush with the black, and I'm going to touch it somewhere on my plate just to kind of blend it a little bit. And I'm going to lay it right along this edge. And it just not even a straight, consistent line. This is background, people, background. We're not making this perfection in any way, shape, or form. Okay, I'm now going to take my same brush, haven't cleaned it yet. I'm going to pull a little black, and I'm just going to use that on the chisel edge. All right, we have an idea of a pier, but we need to give it something so it's attached to the, well, to the water. It does get attached to the water. I've switched to a smaller brush. I'm going to need to tip this just a little bit so I can get a little better angle. So this is going to be longer. And as I come toward the shore, they'll get a little shorter first, because they're in the water, right? That one might be a little too long, but it's okay. Let's see if I have a Q-tip nearby. I think I made him just a tiny bit too long. I'll come back and add a little water on top of that. No more black paint. And we need to see the other side. More at this angle, I think. This is not a pier painting class. This is a blending for your background. This is just kind of pure bonus. All right, so we have something that appears to be in our water, yes? All I've done is rinse my brush. I'm going to see if I can just fade this out even a little more. Very good. And I can come back and touch up with a little bit of blue paint. Okay. The other thing I added was this boat. Not anything fancy, just a pointy rectangle. We'll call that a pointy rectangle and fill it in with a little black. See if we can do that just real kind of quickly. I would do that between your water and your beach, maybe half in, half out. I'm going to start with a little bit of white. Perspective-wise, I may not be completely there, but we're just going to angle it up. I also knew I wanted to use white letters, so I'm going to dirty this up a little bit with a little of the gray. And this is not a boat painting tutorial either. So I'm just going to fill in that shape. I'm going to pick up with my dirty brush a little black, so it's going to be a dark gray. Just going to curve it up. We have just made plans to go to the lake with dear friends of ours at the end of June, and I am so, so excited. We went, not last summer, but the summer before, and had such a fabulous time. And then last summer, just when things were opening up a little bit, we made plans to spend the weekend with them. And like 2-3 days before, I decided to break my leg. Well, I didn't decide. It just happened. Okay, pick up a little white, and I'm just doing that little separation in the boat, like where people separate in the boat. Okay, so a little boat. That works. All right. I chose to have some branches coming over the lake as well. This is optional. All of it's optional. Get a quick sip of water. What are you guys working on today? Are you painting? Are you out enjoying the beautiful weather? Have you started your gardens? Let me know. I want to know if I'm the only one who sneaks away and goes and plays in my flower gardens. I hope I'm not the only one. All right, I'm just going to bring some tree branches. Like my tree is actually off over here. You could bring a whole tree up. Maybe we will. Let's bring a whole tree up. So we'll start here. We've got a little tree that's going to come up. Just straight up and down first. There's my line. And off of my line, I might have a branch that goes out this way. One comes up here and goes off that way. You can't see that. Oh, sorry guys, sorry. Let me scoot you down or scoot you up. There, try that. It's hard, I have a delay seeing what you see. Someone just said they're sitting at work. I'm sorry. This is kind of my work. Painting tags and other stuff. Oh, tags sound like fun. Do you use the tags that are like the size that Essential Stencil uses, or do you make them bigger? Oops, that got to be very thick up there. That's okay. We will work with it, won't we? So I'm going to go ahead and make this just a little thicker. My first branches. This is really, really skinny down here, so let's kind of come down here and spread them out just a bit. What I love about trees is they're not perfect. So I've added my main branches here. I'm just going to switch to a liner brush so I can do something a little more delicate for my branches coming off of my bigger branches. This is part of the silhouette part that I talked about when I posted this. When you're just using the basic image of things, even though we've added some color with the bridge, it's not a bridge, it's a pier, and the boat, it's real basic shapes. They are not detailed. We're not looking to see how many nails are in our pier or anything like that. We're just giving an illusion. And the same thing with our tree. With the branches, I'm just getting smaller as I get further away from the trunk. I try not to look too pattern-like. Try. And then I sometimes make boo-boos like that. That's okay. You'll see very little of this should you choose to put some words on. Oh, and branches is one of those things you can be done in 2 seconds, or you can play and play and play. I apparently am in a playing mood. It's really, really easy, Tammy. You just keep your paint wet, or make sure you've got extra water in your brush. I'm going to get my hair in the paint. You can see that, can't you? It's just... All right. So I'm kind of happy with it. You could keep going and going and going, but I want you to notice just a couple things real quick. One, the blending, whether you thought it was good or not to begin with, really fades. It looks nice. It doesn't have stark lines, especially when you add a couple of those extra elements. Okay? The background trees that I added, or the horizon trees, they weren't perfect. They're still not perfect, but it gives that real distinct line. Okay, so now it's time for me to decide what I'm going to put on this. And one of the ones I think I'm going to go with, I'm going to try it real quick because it's traced out for me, is I have the one that says, "Life is better at the lake." This is well loved, well used. I'm just making sure it's dry. So if I did "Life is better at the lake," just taking a quick peek to make sure I'm not like going to fall into something odd. The reason I like to trace things out, because then I could see what my background is. This way I'm kind of like guessing. Life is better at the lake. I think that'll work. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to use my edge here as my guide. I'm going to go ahead and grab some graphite paper. I used white before and I was really having a hard time seeing it. Even though I know I want white letters, I'm going to go ahead and pick this up. I'm going to, see if I can see this. That is not a good stylus. Let's go with it. So I'm just going to draw a couple lines real quick. Peek, I can see where that's at. I'm going to be filling this in with white, so I don't want to have a lot of dark lines I have to cover. So I'm just going to give myself the very basic outline. And I'm going to need to move my graphite. Here's my better. the link I'm going to send you is going to ask you guys for your email. That's just so I have a way of staying in touch with you. We never know what's going to happen with Facebook. That way we can tell you also if there's something extra special happening. On that form, it does have a place for a phone number. You do not have to give me your phone number. We are in the process of starting a texting link. If you've noticed, a lot of your creatives especially have gone to that. It's just a way for us to be able to let you know when we are going live. Facebook chooses who to show our post to, all of us. And lately it's just been a little more challenging for us to let you know that we're going on. Of course, it would be very helpful if I was always on at the same time, but my life does not work that way. All right, so I have traced on Life is Better at the Lake. I am going to go ahead and do my lettering in white. I like the way the white looks. I did not leave space to put the oars, but when I'm done, I may want to add that. Grab some white paint. Everybody has their favorite brush for lettering, has their favorite way to do lettering. When I'm doing just simple letters, I just tend to use a small round brush. This is like this says it's a 3. It's more like a 1 or 2. But you do want to make sure they're not quite that fuzzy. So we might have to find a different one. Well, I'm going to grab a better brush right here. And I roll my brush in my paint if I'm looking to do smaller letters. And I'm going to do those first. And I'm just going to nice, as steady as I can be. This one is a little different than the one I said to use lake for. So let's, if you prefer this or want this one as well, just put better. So we have lake for the first one, which says go jump in a lake, and better for Life is Better at the Lake. Trying to be consistent with my pressure. It's not, which means I might have to go over and thicken some letters. When I have simple letters like this, something that sometimes what's really easy to do at the end just to make them all look a little more uniform is to either come back and you add dots to them or come back and just add almost those extra little serifs that goes here, making sure that all of them extend a little bit, maybe even go up and down on the T's. Not always necessary, but sometimes it just cleans up the letters a little bit. So I've put better. I should have done Life is first, but here we will. We'll do the is. My life is a little more curvy. So I might choose to use a flat brush instead of a round brush for that. Maybe a nice little 0 or a 2 flat. Except for that one is really, really fuzzy. Oh my, oh my, oh my. I go through a lot of brushes, people. Life, and that's going to be, oh, I'm going to put my hand right in the is. We're going to let that dry a second. I'll go back and fill my At the Lake. This was the brush I was using. The advantage of using white graphite in this would be I wouldn't be having to cover up the darker lines. So Sunday our sign was more for beach, as in probably Florida beach. This is probably more toward a local lake, or maybe one of our bigger lakes up here in the Great Lakes area. It's hard to talk and do lettering, sorry. Trying to keep my hands out of wet paint too. But I wanted to make sure that you saw that you can do this on smaller things, or just kind of have fun with lettering and do it on some stencils or print out some lettering and fill in with funky summer colors. Let's get this summer thing going. I'm very hopeful that we're going to have a more normal summer, if that's the right word to use for coming out of our less than normal time. All right, I'm just going to finish Lake, and I'll come back in and finish up the rest of the words that I'm afraid I'm going to put my hand in right now. But like I said, I will go back as soon as I am finished here, and I will create the tracer for Go Jump in a Lake, and I can do one for Life is Better at the Lake as well. When it comes to hand lettering, I'm a fan of it does not need to be perfect. Now, if you're a fan of it needs to be perfect, you're going to be taking a lot more time, or you're going to find things like stencils that can help you be a lot more consistent. Oh, we got black paint here. We're going to have to go back and fix it. Another good thing about acrylic paint is even though it dries quickly, I can always come back and fix that by picking up the color we used, which was a little bit of honey brown. And it's gone, or almost gone. In a moment, it'll be completely gone. There are no mistakes in painting, only design changes. All right, I'm going to pop you guys up for just a second. And again, I thank you so, so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. And and I will look at all your comments and respond back as soon as I can. Again, if you want the one that happened to say, Go Jump in a Lake, just go ahead and do Lake. I will come back and I will post a link for you to come back, and the link will say Lake on it, or Life is Better at the Lake, just do Better, and I'll post a link for that too. Just give me a little patience. It's technical, so it takes me a little while to figure that stuff out. I paint a lot better than I do anything technical. All right, thank you guys so, so much. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Next Tuesday, I will be I will already be in Nashville celebrating our 24th anniversary. So If I find something creative and fun to pop on, I may, but I do not promise to be here next Tuesday. But until I see you again, please be safe, be kind, and cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.